Welcome back to Dropped In. I am so grateful to be here with you today and share a microdose hit of magic and medicine with you. You know, today's convo feels like one I have been preparing my entire life to speak into, even before I had the words for it. Because we're not talking about business strategy. We're not talking about scaling hacks. Not talking about discipline, motivation, or doing more. We're talking about the truth underneath all of it. The truth that most leaders feel, but very few ever acknowledge. The truth that your nervous system, not your effort, is what determines what you can hold, lead, and sustain. This episode is for you if you're someone who knows you're meant to lead in a bigger way, but your current way of being can't quite match the size of your vision yet. Today, I'm taking you behind the scenes of Hardwired. How it began, how it changed me, how it changed Marsha, and how this work becomes the turning point for the leaders who are ready to move differently. So let's get dropped in. There is always a moment where your mind is still negotiating, but your body already knows the truth. Maybe you felt it. That subtle pressure in the chest, that restlessness that isn't anxiety, it's recognition. That feeling of, I can't keep leading from this version of me. We spend so much time trying to fix surface level things. Our schedule, our systems, our habits, our routines, without realizing that none of those matter if your body isn't available to support the life you're trying to create. The world tells you to create your vision from strategy, but your system, your emotions, your subconscious, they're the actual ones driving the ship. And for most high-achieving leaders, the truth is, you've built an identity that's functional, maybe even impressive, but not one that feels deeply aligned with who you actually are. Because you were trained to be hardwired, conditioned to perform, to push, to figure it all out, to keep going even when your body whispered no. And eventually your nervous system stops responding to the life you're building. Not because it's too big, but because you're building it from a version of you that isn't meant to lead the next chapter. The turning point doesn't come when you try harder. It comes when you decide to shift from performing leadership to embodying leadership. That's the heart-wired way. People see Hardwired today and think, we poured years into the brand, the messaging, the positioning. But the truth? We didn't even have a logo, not a slogan, not a mission statement, not even a landing page. Hardwired was born because two women, Marsha and I, said yes to leading from truth instead of perfection. I'm sure you know our story by now, but we met years ago inside a mastermind. We became master NLP practitioners together. We practiced every 2 weeks on each other. We walked each other through deeper levels of identity we hadn't embodied yet. And even in that closeness, we triggered the heck out of each other. Marsha's visibility activated my invisibility, my fear of being seen. My ease activated her old pattern of over efforting. But instead of pulling away, we leaned in. She invested in my work. I invested in hers. And together we rewired the patterns that were running our leadership on autopilot. Hardwired didn't come from branding. It came from embodiment, from values, from truth, from two women who decided there was a better way to lead. And when people felt it, they joined. Before we built anything public facing, before we had anything to show, because coherence speaks louder than marketing ever will. And I want to break something down that changed everything for me and for the women inside this movement and for the men inside this movement. There is a significant difference between being hardwired and heartwired. Hardwired leadership looks like staying busy so you don't have to get honest, running on adrenaline and calling it drive, building faster than your system can process, holding everything together with willpower, mistaking pressure for purpose, proving instead of embodying. Hardwired leaders are incredibly capable, which is why they can sustain misalignment far longer than they should. But it always catches up. Through burnout, through emotional crashes, through inconsistency, through success that doesn't feel like anything. And now, heart-wired leadership is completely different. It's the moment your system becomes safe enough to let your full identity come online. It's when regulation becomes your strategy, when embodiment becomes your business plan, when your presence becomes your marketing. Heart-wired leadership is built from coherence, intuition, self-trust, somatics, emotional clarity, nervous system capacity, internal safety. This is why heart-wired leaders scale with sustainability, because nothing is built from survival. Everything is built from truth. And so let's talk about triggers, because this is where deep work actually begins. Triggers aren't about the other person. They're reflections of the part of you that's ready to evolve. When Marsha triggered me, it wasn't because she was doing anything wrong. It was because she was living in an identity I hadn't stepped into yet. When I triggered Marsha, it wasn't because I was ahead. It wasn't because I was out earning her. It was because I was holding a way of being she was ready to unlock. Most people run from the mirror. They retreat. They ghost. They contract. But leaders who rise, they lean in. Triggers are invitations. Mirrors are medicine. Resonant is direction. This is the foundation of heart-wired work. Your body reveals your next level before your mind can even articulate it. If you know me, you know my love and obsession for disco balls. I have them throughout my studio, throughout Instagram, and we really utilized the disco ball as an anchor, as a metaphor at our Hardwired CEO Live event. Because the disco ball, it's hundreds of mirrored pieces, each one so unique, each one once separate, but together reflecting more light than any single piece ever could. You are the same. Your experiences, your lessons, your triumphs, even your shadows, they're not separate. They're structural. And when integrated, they illuminate your identity. When fragmented, they dim your leadership. Hardwired works because it brings your pieces back together, so your light has nothing left to fight against. And this part of the episode is for the leader listening who feels that quiet internal pull, the knowing, the recognition, the I'm stepping into something bigger than before. Your system already knows you're changing. You can feel the expansion before the evidence arrives. You can feel that the way you used to lead no longer matches who you're becoming. This is not ego. This isn't urgency. This is evolution. You don't need to hustle. Align your nervous system with your identity so that your life becomes a natural expression of who you actually are. This is the work. This is the shift. And this is the room designed for it. So let's talk about what happened inside the Hardwired CEO Mastermind that starts in January, and why it's the next step for the leader who's been listening to this episode, feeling it in every cell of your being. This mastermind isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about transforming the container you are so you can hold the life and leadership you're already being pulled toward. Inside this experience, we build the nervous system that can hold the ecosystem you're here to lead. You receive deep monthly mentorship, somatic rewiring, nervous system capacity work, identity expansion, a private Telegram leadership thread, quarterly roundtables, and the community where mirrors turn into momentum. There are 6 spots remaining as I record this podcast. Who knows how many are left? And so for the next 6 leaders who say yes, regardless if you pay in full or do the monthly payment plan, you receive $15,000 in one-on-one bonuses. The math does not map. When you join throughout the month of December, you receive $1,000 off of enrollment and immediate access to our Telegram leadership thread. And listen, as I shared already, this does not make sense. The math does not math. Because this isn't about numbers. It's about transformation. It's about timing. It's about resonance. It's about the leader who you know you're on the cusp of something massive and are ready to be supported at the level their future requires. So if your body felt this episode, if something inside recognized itself in these words, this is your invitation. Hit up the show notes to learn more or send me a message on Instagram at the Meghan Weir, and I'll share the details personally. Your evolution isn't waiting for strategy. It's waiting for resonance. It's waiting for coherence. It's waiting for you to lead from truth, not tension. And it's waiting for you to step into the room built for exactly who you are becoming. I cannot wait to welcome you and celebrate you and run alongside you inside of this sacred portal. I love you, I believe in you, and I'm beyond grateful to have you in this beautiful community. Until next time, I will see you on Drop. Most people think scaling is about doing more. More strategy, more hours, more effort. Your success isn't about how hard you work. It's about how well your nervous system can hold what you're building. If your body is stuck in survival mode, no strategy in the world will make scaling feel sustainable. You'll stay in this cycle of overthinking, self-sabotaging, pushing harder while getting nowhere. Not because you don't know what to do, but because your system isn't wired to receive what you're working for. That's why I created the Inner Pharmacy Playbook. 143 power pages of real, high-level strategy to regulate your nervous system, rewire resistance, and finally step into momentum that sticks. Because you weren't meant to build your empire through exhaustion. You were meant to build it with ease, clarity, and power. And that starts here. Go to the show notes and grab your copy of the Inner Pharmacy Playbook, because the next level of your business is not about grinding harder. It's about becoming the version of you who can hold it all.